Okay, here we go. Custom Click Clack Radio intro featuring Eric Wiens. Ooh, that was crispy. Eric Wiens coming in hot.
Welcome to Click Clack. I'm Haley.
And I'm Molly.
And welcome to episode 4. We've got a really special guest today, Jake Wiens.
Yes, the one and only.
So Molly and I just got back from the first ever
Rogue Valley Kendama Regional
in Ashland, Oregon.
Yes,
it was
my hometown.
It was really fun. Great turnout. It was put on by Alex Guzman and Josh Grove.
Yeah, and the rest of the Rogue Dama team.
Yeah, it was good. There was a great turnout, and it was at Lithia Park in Ashland, Oregon, a beautiful park, and there was beginner, intermediate, advanced, and pro ladders, and yeah, it was fun. So next year, come on out to it.
It was a blast to meet some new faces and experience some new Dama.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Molly was not able to be there for the interview with Jake, but we're gonna jump right in.
Yeah, I've got a great podcast for you today.
All right, let's hear it. Okay, Jake, so where are you at right now?
All right, so I'm currently in the Grill, Jamaica. We're doing a big family vacation with myself, my girlfriend Amanda, my brother Eric Wiens, and his wife Callie, and my mom and dad. We're out here just beach lounging for a full week just to kind of get away and relax.
Nice. Did you bring kendamas with you?
Of course. So we were here about 3 years ago, and it was actually before we launched Grain Theory, and my brother and I had the very first GTs. If you go back and watch the original kind of the video where we announced everything and talked about everything, there's actually Jamaica footage in it. And everyone was so into it. We had a few that we left our personals here. So when I came back this year, I made sure to bring a handful, I probably brought like 5 or 6 kendamas just to give away to the amazing staff out here at Couples Swept Away.
Have you showed them kendama yet?
Oh yeah, we got here and within 30 minutes of being in the actual resort, of course they're like, what's that? And so we started explaining it and playing, and one of the guys was like, I remember you. He's like, you know how I remember you? He's like, that game, the kendama, and this is from 3 years ago. But one of the kendamas that I'm most excited to have here in Jamaica is the Kaizen 2.0, the Jamaican flag one. It was just too perfect. So I'm running around with a Jamaican flag kendama and a big smile on my face, so it's good.
All right, where are you from, Jake?
I'm originally born and raised in Hendersonville, Tennessee. It's about 30 minutes outside of Nashville. And in 2002, I graduated from high school and moved directly to San Francisco, California. And now I live in Oakland, California. Okay,
so did you discover kendama in San Francisco?
I did discover kendama in San Francisco. I grew up in Tennessee, skateboarding, aggressive inline skating, little bit of BMX, so a lot of freestyle there. And I got into fingerboarding when I was in like middle school, and all that just stayed with me whenever I moved to San Francisco. Got into the inline scene out in San Francisco pretty hard. Made some skate films, skated with a bunch of pros, living the dream. And a good friend of mine, Matt Rice, and I would skate all the time. And he was the first person to actually show me kendama. So I think the first time I saw a kendama was with Rice skating the Embarcadero. So 2008, like early 2008 is whenever I found the kendama through Rice. And then I bought my first kendama that year from a little shop in San Francisco called D-Structure. It was a blading / freestyle ski shop, and they had kendamas. TK16, Natty, first dama, still have it.
Nice, that's a good first kendama. I think a lot of people had the JKA damas as their first back in the day.
It's so amazing that like if you talk to a lot of the people that have been playing kendama from that era, almost everybody's first kendama from that era is a TK16 of some color. And the colors were limited. It was like black, red, blue, or natty. That was it.
Yeah, same with the Azoras. Okay, so TK16 actually means something. Can you tell everybody what TK16 actually stands for?
Oh, man, I remember whenever I learned that, it blew my mind because it's called a TK16 Master. And we always loved the packaging because it was so Japanese. Just a basic plastic bag that said TK-16 and then Master giant down the side of the packaging, and the back was all in Japanese. And we never knew kind of what it stood for. We just thought it was foreign and awesome. And then I learned that the TK actually stands for typical kendama, And the 16 stands for 16 centimeters. So it was a typical kendama, 16 centimeters. That's what TK16 stands for. And then the master just says that the TK16 is the master of 16 centimeter kendamas during that time. So the TK16 master is the typical kendama, 16 centimeters master.
Yeah, I remember you actually told me what that meant, and it actually blew my mind too, because I didn't even think of it, or even that it stood for something. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. And like, you just made something so simple into a cool name for a kendama. And yeah, that's funny. It's a little fun fact.
A nugget of wisdom, as they'd say from the WKT.
All right, so what makes you attracted to kendama, and why do you think that you picked it up and kept going with it?
I just like to play. It boils down to loving to play, you know? I mean, I'm 33 years old, and I've been playing games since I was a kid. I still consider myself a kid. But I just like to play with anything. My brother and I just got done with the beach playing bocce tama. It's like bocce ball, but with smaller balls that are the size of tamas. I mean, if you give us anything in our hands, we're going to flip it, we're going to toss it, we're going to catch it, however we can. And kendama was just something that was so natural to me. Like, it wasn't natural to be able to play it, but my attraction to it was so natural. For the fact that it opposed a challenge, it flexed a little bit of creativity on like how you can be different with the same parameters that everybody else has. And also the fact that you can take it with you everywhere. And it was something new that you could share with people. So there's a lot of things that I like to do, and that's share new things with people, play with toys, and be able to do it everywhere I travel, everywhere I go. And the kendama fits all three of those categories amazingly.
Yeah, so at first I heard that you actually weren't that into kendama when Matt showed it to you, but you ended up kind of sticking with it. So is that true?
So the attraction went like this. I saw it and I was like, ooh, I want that so bad. But I had just gotten a brand new fixed gear bike, and I was really dedicated to learning the tricks and everything on a fixed gear bike. I was deep into blading, and I had all these hobbies. I was into music. I was performing music in San Francisco with a crew called Analog Memories, which included like Harold Boyesen, Isaiah Flores, a lot of guys that play kendama now. And I was like, okay, this is amazing, but I can't have another hobby. Nope. So I actually kind of resisted for a second because I knew it was awesome. And I knew that it would just take over everything. And fast forward, it totally, completely took over everything. I still ride my fixed gear bike, and I still play music, and I still skate. But kendama quickly rose to the top, just as I had anticipated it, to just becoming my absolute passion and number one priority as far as toys and skills go.
Yeah, I know you were one of the first in the game back in the day, and one of the first to actually host an event. And from my understanding, it was called the Kengarden Battle, and it was at your house in San Francisco. Is that right?
Ooh, you're close to right. Very close. There's one element that no one even knows about. This is an exclusive Click Clack Radio exclusive. That's my BBC Radio 1 introduction to this fact. Before the Kengarden existed, John Hall, Matt Rice, and myself had a kendama crew called Kendoppler Radar. Kendoppler Radar was a crew of 3 of us, and we just thought it would be hilarious to have like a kendama crew because there were skate crews, and we were all about having skate crews. They had a fixed gear bike crew called POM, P-O-M-B. We had a skate crew called NDS, which was Ninja Death Squad. And we were just like, well, obviously we need a kendama crew. So we called it Kendoppler Radar. And the first battle was actually a Kendoppler Radar barbecue and battle. And the flyer was awesome. We kind of mimicked the Battle Royale. If you guys haven't seen Battle Royale, amazing film from Japan. Pretty insane. But we mimicked the whole Battle Royale style. I invited all my friends over to my apartment because every time someone would come over, my friends would just play the kendama. And it was a reoccurring thing every time. Kendama. So I said, all right, we're going to have everybody over at once. I'm going to have a bunch of kendamas, and we're going to barbecue, have some beers, and have a kendama contest. Because that sounds ridiculous, right? A kendama contest back in 2008. And I had my friend Rick Simons come out and actually film the event. So we had a kendama contest that was documented with my friends who kind of played kendama And I called up Kendama USA and said, hey, this is my first contact with Kendama USA, by the way, besides buying a kendama from them. I was like, hey, I'm going to throw a kendama contest. If I give you a video, will you send me some TK16s? So we got some TK16 prizes and just had a chill barbecue dama contest. And it ended up being an absolute success. It ended up in a dance party in my apartment, which was great. Oh my God. I can almost name every person that came. I'm going to see if I can do this right now. It might take a second. We had Josh McDonald, Matt Rice, Annalise Furman, now Annalise Rice. We had Susan Mallon, Tracy Clark Flory. We had Ube Urban. We had Steve Tortorelli. We had Nick Slazak. We had Tim Rice. We had Charlie Martinez and myself.
So how did this event evolve into the Kengarden?
So the way it the transition between the first Kendoppler radar battle to the Kengarden was, I did 2 contests in my backyard, and my friend Harold Boyesen was telling me how cool it was that we were like bringing everybody together around kendama, and we had kind of coined the term like the Kengarden being my backyard garden, because it's just a fun place to play kendama. It was small, it was quaint, it was private. And we just called it the Kengarden instead of the Zen Garden. And Harold said, man, you should start a blog and just talk about kendama and kind of this idea you have with these contests. So we started the blog, thekengarden.com, which actually drove a lot more traction to our kendama contest in my backyard. So quickly it outgrew my small little backyard garden. And we had to move it. So we looked for my other friends that had backyards that were larger. But we had one obstacle, and a lot of the backyards that my friends had in San Francisco were overgrown. They were completely just in total disarray. So we had 2 parties now. One party in the middle of the month where everyone would come out. I would buy pizza, I would buy some beers, and we would bring shovels, rakes, chainsaws, everything, whatever we needed to transform their backyard into a Kengarden, which was a very nice place that everyone was able to play kendama and really have some fun in the dirt. Because when you live in a city like San Francisco, you don't really have that many opportunities to get your hands dirty and like get into a dirt and do some gardening. So everybody would come out middle of the month, and then we totally redo the garden of my friend's house. And then at the end of the month, we would host the kendama contest, and everybody would tell their friends. So it really grew exponentially that way. So it was a mixture of word of mouth spreading by people just saying there's this fun game called kendama. There are these contests where there's barbecue and everyone's eating and drinking and having a good time in a contest, mixed with the video content and photos that we were putting out being spread through social media like Facebook and thekengarden.com, that really made it grow. And we did a battle once a month in all of my friends' gardens for about a year. So it was a blast, and everyone got to play in a garden and play some kendama.
Was Kendama USA the only sponsor at the time?
Kendama USA was the premier sponsor of the Kengarden and all these battles. Back in the day, Matt Rice was actually sponsored by Konamiko. Konamiko gave a few prizes. Yumu actually sent some stuff in. A lot of people were really kind of supportive of what we were doing, which is amazing. And Kendama USA was just always at the forefront of that and just supplying like an immense amount of prizes and support for our contest. Not only the prizes, but also helping us promote it with their website and all these different things. So Kendama USA backed what we were doing 100%.
How did the Kengarden battles evolve to the Kengarden Roots Tour?
Oh my God. KG Roots. We basically ran out of gardens. We ran out of homies with yards. And so we're like, all right, we got to take this on the road. And we grew up again with skating, snowboarding, skiing, like all these different action sports. And what was the number one thing that got people hyped? And that was tours. I just thought it'd be cool to do a tour. And looking back on it, I'm still totally perplexed by the fact that we pulled it off. And it was 100% due to the support of Kendama USA and all the players that went on tour that just volunteered their time to go out and have a great time with these tours. There was a lot of work on my end trying to get everything together, and I was really just freestyling the whole thing. Just like, all right, what do we need? A van, kendamas, and homies, and enough gas to get us there, back, and maybe some hotels. So the way it worked was Kendama USA gave us a bunch of kendamas. We had to sell those kendamas at the stops, and that's how we made enough money to put gas in the van, pay for hotels, get some food, and all of that. And the first tour was an insane success, and the second tour followed suit absolutely perfectly. Traveling up the West Coast, all the way up to Seattle and back. So, man, those were, I call them the glory days of kendama. It was still such an absolute new frontier. And if you look back at it, the KG Roots Tour gave birth to a lot of amazing players, including, I wouldn't say gave birth, but actually inspired a lot of players. I've had Wyatt and Stodd both tell me that when they came out to the Eugene and the Portland stop, that is really what made them take kendama from like, all right, this is fun, to like, dude, this is it. And they both told me that, and it's amazing to hear that story, because back then we didn't know that we were going to inspire people on that level, that down the road, like, this tour was going to inspire a future world champion, as well as one of the most technical, well-known kendama players in the world, like Stodd. So it's just crazy.
I can definitely relate, because when I went to the Kengarden Roots Tour 2013 in Eugene and Portland, that was like the most inspired I had ever been playing kendama. That's where I met the whole Kendama USA team, and shortly after I got on tribute. So the Kengarden Roots Tour definitely changed my life.
Haley, I'm pretty sure we've told you this, but like, do you remember us or me telling you about how after we met you at the stop and we're all in the van, and it was basically kendama, it was all Kendama USA heads, and we're just like, all right, guys, Haley Bishoff, let's go. She rips. She's slacklining. She's doing backflips. She's like the raddest girl we've seen play kendama. And I remember everybody having a big talk about how like rad you were and how much we wanted to have you on the team. So like, there was a whole drive where we just talked about how rad you were.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I'm just stoked that it's evolved to what it is today. So how much planning actually went into the tour?
None of us really knew what we were doing. It was a 100% trial by fire. So it was just, all right, what do we need? How do we get it? We didn't know how to get it. We just figured it out, you know? And we got to figure the stops out, map it out, do promo with the right time, get a theme for the tour, the hardest part is getting the word out, man. Like, making sure that everybody knows where you're going to be and what's going to be going down. And it took the promotion of the entire squad and the entire team to make it what it was. And looking back on it, it's just like, none of it would have been possible without Kendama USA basically giving us a absolute ton of kendamas to bring in the back of that truck to set up shop every single time, to sell some kendamas, make some money, put gas in the truck, you know? So it's a lot of planning, and it was totally a learning process. And again, somehow we made it happen. Somehow.
So I know that you went to an art school in San Francisco. Was that for cinematography stuff or what?
Yeah, so when I graduated in high school in 2002, I immediately took off to San Francisco, California to go to the Academy of Art University to pursue a film career. My entire life, I have, well, at least since I'll say middle school, I've been video editing. From my parents' VHS camcorder to stop, play, record, VCR to VCR, overdubbing with cassette tapes and CDs. I've been an editor. I've been editing footage of soccer games to skate videos to family vacations. And I just knew that was something that I wanted to do. I love telling stories, and I love taking images and putting them together and making them something powerful. And so when I graduated, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I was able to go out to California to the Academy of Art University, where I started pursuing a bachelor's in fine arts for editing, cinematography, directing, just all things video production. And in 2007, I actually graduated with that. So, and I've been able to utilize my education and my passion for video to actually promote kendama and kind of bring it up to where it is now, because I was able to take two things that I was actually very passionate about. Like, I truly love storytelling and video work and film work, and I truly love kendama. And you put those two together and I'm able to, I don't know, just really fulfill something that I felt like I'm supposed to be doing, and that's telling stories about a fun game called kendama.
How do you think that video kind of tells the story of kendama and helps spread kendama and helps it grow?
Video is something that 100% propelled kendama into the future and what I call modern kendama play. For the fact that, I mean, we were watching videos of Shimadera on YouTube doing tricks. We were watching videos of Colin Sander and his entire progression with kendama from a ski shop to Edit 7. And it was something that... hold on one second.
Yo, man, it's the room
Hey,
service.
it's the room service. It's my brother, Eric Wiens, joining the crew now. All right, Haley, so my brother just joined. Eric Wiens is in the house.
Hey.
We're just talking about video right now and how it moved kendama into the future. So yeah, so Eric's gonna join us for the interview for a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. So my thing with video helped propel kendama to the future for the fact that everyone was able to learn visually by watching each other on YouTube. Everybody was able to message each other and ask about certain tricks. And again, it was crazy that we were able to watch Colin Sander and his tricks, and at the same time be able to watch Shimadera, be able to watch like Tomotsu and all these guys and their tricks. So we were actually able to learn from the Japanese players as well as the legends here, like Rice putting out edits, Jeffrey Van Rieven putting out just an insane amount of edits, and we were able to learn from kendama players from around the world and also have the ability to message them and talk to them and say, what was that trick? How did you do that? So that's one thing that was able to push kendama as a skill-based game to the next level. And then on the other end of that spectrum, video is able to tell a story and present a vibe and a feeling. And so with the Kengarden battles and these contests, the vibe that I wanted to really put out there with these videos was just very relaxed, fun, no stress. I mean, just a good time. I wanted to show kendama as the funnest thing you can do with your friends in a backyard while barbecuing. And there were a few ways that I did that. We kept it light. If you watch the first ever kendama battle video, the Kendoppler Radar Battle 1, I've got Frances Hardy, who is a French pop star, which is very poppy and light in the background. I've got everybody smiling, everybody eating, everybody drinking, and just having a good time. And it actually ends with Boys to Men dance battle inside my apartment. And the goal with that was to just show people like, oh, this looks fun, you know? Because I do feel like if you switched it up and just made it all about competition, it actually might deter some people and be like, whoa, this is way too serious for me. I'm not sure if I want to get into this. So the goal was to make it light and fun. And so that's two different forms of video work that I think kind of in combination was able to attract a lot of people to kendama.
Yeah. So you do most of the big video projects for Kendama USA. Which one do you think has been the most rewarding?
So for me, one of my favorite videos that I've made that's on Kendama USA's channel is a short film that I made called Words. And that was shot during Catch and Flow. And one of the ideas with Words is that we all speak different languages, but we all say kendama. We all come together around this universal language of motion, this universal language of tricks, and we can all speak one word, kendama, together, even if we don't speak the same language. So what I did was I gathered all the players from all the teams, and I had certain words. So the English players would say sugoi, and the Japanese players would say awesome. So I had everybody saying the same word, but in each other's language. And I don't know, to me it was a very unifying, powerful video that I still watch today, and it just makes me feel happy and good. And to me, that's like the ultimate accomplishment with kendama, is beyond the tricks, is that it's unified people from all over the world, and we all meet up together in Japan, and it's a peaceful gathering, and everyone has a great time, and we play this toy. So I don't know, that video just still makes me warm and is amazing. And along with that video, that's like one of my number ones, is words. But any video that I've been able to edit from Japan, for instance, the 2015 Japan video was another video that I made that was focused on storytelling, with basically getting interviews from the entire team and getting everyone's insight to what makes these Japan trips special, and overlaying that over the tricks. And to Wyatt Bray Sleigh Days was one of my favorites. That I had Wyatt Bray for 3 days in Oakland, and I just was like, all right, let's do tricks and make it look awesome. And I thought that video came out absolutely phenomenal, because Wyatt Bray was able to just lay down tricks left and right. I don't know, there's so many, because now I want to say the Haley Bishoff tribute announcement when you came to San Francisco, and we ran around and just like filmed, ended up in SantaCon with a bunch of drunk Santas. Like, every video that I've done has been an adventure, and it's like looking back at like a scrapbook. I can go through the Kendama USA channel and just like relive a lot of the adventures. So
Whenever I haven't been on a kendama trip for a while, I definitely go back and look at the videos on the Kendama USA page and get super nostalgic. And I think that it's so cool that you get to create memories for people that they can go back and relive the experience. So how many hours do you think it takes to create a big production?
How many hours? Oh my God. To me, they're huge productions for the fact that you spend all this time filming them. So when I go to Japan, I am emceeing the World Cup. I'm working with the staff. I'm actually very honored to have so much input in the World Cup. Like, Tomotsu will come to me and ask me questions about, like, do you think this is legal? Do you think this should work or whatnot? And I feel like I do have an influence with the World Cup, and it's absolutely incredible that they value my opinion on that. So on top of emceeing, working with Tomotsu, working with the team, trying to perform as a professional kendama player, I now have to make the video as well, which is nonstop filming. Like, after Wyatt Bray won the World Cup, I was like, thank you guys very much. I gave my goodbye speech from the World Cup stage, ripped that microphone off, ran, grabbed my camera, and immediately started filming the news crews interview Wyatt. So you have to think about it like the entire time you're in Japan, or if you're out filming, you're always looking for something to shoot. So if you're shooting for 3 days, that's 3 days of nonstop filming. And then with editing, it's either going to be a project that you wait for the inspiration to come, and you're like, I know what to do now. And then you go for it, and you put out the most amazing piece. Or it's just a crunch project. For instance, Wyatt Bray's pro video. Show up on the 6th, shoot through the 9th. Video has to be done by the 13th. So from the 10th through the 13th was solid wake up, edit till 2 in the morning, editing times for Wyatt Bray's pro announcement video. And whenever I say editing, I'm talking about sound recording. I'm talking about completely replacing the entire soundtrack and like Foley sounds of Wyatt Bray's intro scene when he's walking into the comic book shop. I erased every bit of sound from that and replaced everything from a door handle moving to footsteps to Django Reinhardt playing in the distance in the background. So it's a long time. Each project takes a lot of time and dedication, and it's a lot of work. but I love doing it. So one of the other amazing parts about kendama and video is that it's part of the culture of kendama. Like, if you play kendama, it's more than likely that you have posted a video, whether it be a single trick or a full edit of you doing your tricks. And one of the things I want to let everybody know, that if you have ever posted a video or a full edit of you doing tricks, like, you are one of the reasons why kendama is where it is. And you're one of the reasons why kendama has gotten so big. Because without player-generated videos and content, I mean, it would just be a few videos out there. But if you go on Instagram right now and just type in hashtag kendama and look at the amount of posts, and look at the amount of posts that are videos. If you go on YouTube and look up kendama, just the amount of videos from players that have been put out is insane. So if someone's just learning about kendama, you can just search kendama, and you're guaranteed to find hundreds and thousands of videos of ordinary players or pro players or hobbyist players. And it's so accessible now to find new tricks. Like, I do it all the time. I'll go on YouTube and just type in kendama, look at the latest posted video, and it's probably some kid in his bedroom trying a trick. And to me, that is such motivation, because if you play kendama now, you've been in that position where you're just like, all right, I have an idea. I wonder if I can do this. I saw so-and-so do it. We got Eric Wiens in the room right now, my brother, and the first clip I ever posted on YouTube was me in my apartment, my brother playing guitar, and me doing a big cup, Ken flip big cup cut. That was it. And I slow-moed it like it was all freaking awesome. I'm like, I did a Ken flip, eat it. That was my first ever posted clip, and it was in 2008, way back when. It's pretty cool because Eric's guitar all slows down. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah.
I can play the guitar.
That was awesome. Eric's a banjo man. He don't play no dang six string. But yeah, that's why video is so important, because it's part of the culture. It's part of what you do if you're a kendama player on whatever scale it is. Post one video or 1,000, you're bound to post a video. But yeah, we got Eric Wiens in the room right now. You want to bring that chair over here?
Yeah, let me bring that up.
Eric's making as much noise as he can with the chair. All right, so right now you are in tune live in Jamaica with the Wiens Bros. My name's Jake Wiens. I'm wearing a shirt with flamingos on it. Eric Wiens is wearing a hand-woven straw hat that he bought off the beach here in Jamaica. And yeah, we're out here having a good family vacation, playing some kendama, playing some bachitama.
Family vacations with the Wiens is always good, because it's almost like me and Jake have to restrain our kendama play a little bit.
It's so true.
But like, whenever me and Jake, because we don't see each other forever, and then we'll all of a sudden like see each other and then ignore everything that's going around us, run towards each other and just geek out and just start playing kendama or skimboarding or riding bikes or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah,
but it never fails.
It's
one of us will probably get hurt at some point.
Oh man, yeah, one of us always does get hurt. Eric and I have always been spastic, like, to say it at the least. I don't know, there's just a lot of energy with the Wiensmen. And I don't know, like, I guess to start the story, I brought home a gold and silver Shinfuji for my brother and our cousin Tyler Marshall. And I think that kind of started that planted the seed for us to essentially become a kendama family, if you think about it. Because, like, our cousin Tyler Marshall ran, like, the concession stand, had contests, was involved. Eric started playing kendama, and then further down the road, now we are designing and manufacturing some of the finest kendamas in the world. And it's crazy to see the timeline of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, whenever Rice and I were we had the idea for Grain Theory, we kind of thought to ourselves, like, yeah, let's get them made in the U.S. because we'll be able to have clear communication. Our goal is to be able to drive wherever they're being made and basically have full, like, just clear, concise communication with the manufacturer so we can get exactly what we wanted. And we shopped around from furniture manufacturers like all over the country, because at this point in time, no one was making kendamas in the U.S.
Yeah, we shipped. You guys shipped an Uzura all to different people.
Oh my God!
They're like, yeah, we can make that, but we don't really want to.
Yeah, they say
like,
we can.
We're comfortable making furniture legs right now. We don't really want to make this toy.
Exactly. So we kind of got shut down a whole lot, and it kind of got to a point of frustration where it's just like everything on the scale of like, yeah, this is why everything's made in China, because everyone here is unwilling to accept a challenge and make something cool, you know? And it got really frustrating. And then I would call my brother and we'd talk about it. And then one day Eric literally just calls us up and is like, you know what? I think we can make a kendama.
Yeah, it's funny because Richard Russell, we always talked about making stuff. And Richard had the idea to make straws, just plastic straws. He's like, dude, I can buy a machine that makes plastic straws for like $100 or something. And it's like, I don't know, we could probably sell straws. And like, just wanting to start, just kind of see what it's like to run the business. And so we were going to make straws. I don't know if this was a dumb idea. But, and so then I remember I like emailed Richard. I don't know. I think Richard maybe says he emailed me. I can't remember. But we were like, what about making kendamas? Because we always said that like the stars aligned. It was like I had woodworking experience. Jake was like deep in the kendama community. You know, my dad just had a great knowledge of wood and everything. And Richard and our friend Matt we were all just always talking about like trying to make stuff. And so we were like, let's see if we can make one. Like that was our goal to begin in the beginning. Was like, let's just see if we can make one. Like Pete had hand turned some,
yeah.
And I've hand turned them, and then we're like, well, let's see if we can make one on like a CNC machine. So eventually we did, and then we called Jake, and we're like, yeah, let's make some.
And then Rice and I flew to Chattanooga, and Eric opened the doors to a tiny little stable garage that wasn't even big enough for a car.
Yeah, that was Mercado's basement, which had like, it leaked, it was tiny, and like our machine at the time was so loud, and their bedroom wasn't right above the garage. It was like a little bit, but our machine was just like, just.
So Rice and I,
horrible sound.
Eric and them were like, yeah, we can make a kendama, and we got a CNC router lathe. We're good to go. And then Rice and I walk into this leaking like 1920.
I think his house was built in the 20s, yeah.
1920s stable garage. Open the door, water on the floor, look towards the end, and there stands Liberty. Liberty was the CNC machine, and we're just like, oh yeah, this can work. And then we look over, and there's a Windows 98 ThinkPad laptop that we're putting floppy disks into.
Dude, we had to go we went into Best Buy, and we were like, hey, yeah, where are the floppy disks? We can't find it. And the guy was like, what's a floppy disk? Like the guy who worked at Best Buy, who was probably like 17, did not know what a floppy disk was. So we had to order some on like Amazon because we couldn't find floppy disks.
So it was this whole process of like starting literally with like the most basic nothing equipment to like being able to build it up and build it up and build it up to now where it's like Eric's got an amazing facility with an amazing machine, and we've got Shane Walker in there making some of the finest damas you can get, and it's amazing to see the evolution of kendama manufacturing with Eric, Richard, and Matt, RWB, and with the promotion and brains with as far as like damas and stuff like that, and
well,
just our promotion with Rice and myself. And again, yeah, it's just like what you said, the stars aligned, man. It's like
And at that time, no one had like tweaked shapes, and no one had like tweaked shapes or anything. So, because it took us forever, because we would like make one and ship it to you, and then it would take like a week to ship, and then you would like email us back with notes, and then it was always frustrating because we're the engineers and you guys are the artists, and y'all be like, make this a little bit bigger, and we're like, what is a little bit? Like, a 16th of an inch, a 30, like, you know, how much? And then I remember I bought calipers and had them just shipped to your house.
I still have them.
Because you guys make this a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, and we're just like, damn it, we don't know what a little bit means. So eventually we worked it out, and like, yeah, it took a while, but I remember shipping, I remember like just boxes. One time, or we didn't have any bubble wrap, so we just used all the sawdust. We just had a box with like 2 kendamas in it, and then we just filled it full of sawdust instead of bubble wrap, and then it like exploded.
Yeah, Rice and I get the first shipment of GTs made on the Liberty via floppy disk and Windows 98 ThinkPad. We open the box in my little tiny studio in the Mission District in San Francisco, and just sawdust explosion. It was like we got sent a clown package, but instead of confetti, it was sawdust. And we opened it up, and there were the first batch GT1s, complete with the swoop and the wormhole. We had beach and hickory?
I think it was hickory. I think it was like 25. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was 25 was the first batch. So shout out to anyone out there that has one of the first batch GT1s.
Yeah, 25.
25.
And it took us like a month to make 25.
And now it's like we can crank out 25. We still take our time with every single one of them, and we still have a lot of fun with it. So it's just really cool to see the evolution of what started as an idea and became something that it kind of just organically kind of snowballed into something that it is today, you know?
Yeah, and I think a big advantage of this whole project was it wasn't our full-time gig. Like me, Richard, and Matt have other jobs, and like because of that, we could take risks and we could take our time. Like, you know, we weren't like trying to put bread on our table with this, and so because of that, we could take our time with it. We could take risks. We could, you know, kind of had some flexibility with it, and so we didn't rush anything. And you know, that's still the case today, and I think that's been a big part of the success.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And now, just from the experimentation with the GT shapes, and then being able to go there with Kendama USA and prototype out the 2.0s and create the crafts, it's just amazing to go. It's amazing to roll up to a session and see everybody playing kendamas, looking at those kendamas and saying, yeah, those came from Chattanooga. Almost every single one of them. Like whenever we did the Chattanooga sesh, it was crafts, it was RWBs, it was grain theories, and there was even a few reses there. And you're just like, this is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, rewinding all the way back into the early days when your choices were TK16, Uzora, Shin Fuji, or Mugen. And Mugens were impossible to find. Shin Fujis were like kind of hard to find, but they also weren't the best. So basically you were TK16 or Uzora, and that's what you played. So going from limited options that were all made in Japan or China to having an insane amount of options, and then also having those boiled down to people still preferring and choosing the shapes that are made here with us is insane.
Oh, cool sidebar story. The calipers, Jake. I don't know. Do we agree on where the calipers for GT came from? Because this is my memory. My memory is that I was FaceTiming with you in the shop, and we were talking about like logos and stuff, and you were like, "Oh, those calipers are cool." So I held the calipers up, and you took a screenshot of your FaceTime when I held the calipers up, and you used that to draw out like in.
I think that's definitely where the inspiration came from. Like,
but I thought that the screenshot you took is the actual shape, because the shape of y'all's calipers are like dead on to the Pete's.
Yeah, exactly.
One, because my dad gave me calipers to get started, and like I don't know where those calipers came from. They're old, but
yeah, those are definitely the calipers. And then we actually worked with a local artist, John Carr, to kind of create the logo. It was caliper centralized, with like that being the iconic image, and then we worked with him on kind of creating this seal in a sense that is the GT circle logo. But yeah, it's crazy. I had totally forgotten about that.
Yeah, because that was Ben has a tattoo, and I was like, that's a screenshot on an iPhone on your arm.
No, it's Christian has a tattoo.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the brief history of that. And I don't know, I'm also super, super proud of the whole craft line.
Yeah.
And going back to the naming of that, I remember it's like Wyatt Bray, TJ Kolesnick, myself, Jero, we're all sitting in a room, and we're just like, what do we call this thing? And there were like thousands of names floating around, and I was just like, man, this is like our craft line of kendamas. Like, this is like a craft whiskey or craft coffee, craft beer, and then craft was born from there. Darnell whipped up like the most amazing pin logo that symbolized the localness of the kendama. I don't know. And then still picking up and holding like any of the damas that come out of there, you pick it up and hold it and say, man, this is fantastic. And I love thinking about that and be like, that's my bro.
Yeah.
That's my bro. So it's definitely cool to have your family involved in kendama, not only on the scale that we are, but just like as players. Like,
yeah, I mean, I love playing games of Ken with Jake, and I feel like we have our own style of playing Ken. Because, I mean, like, I'll go and play a game of Ken with someone else, and, like, at a jam session, and I'm like, oh, they're trying too hard. Like, I feel like whenever we play Ken, it's like, oh, we're playing just... I mean, I'm still trying to beat you every time, but it's like, I don't know. There's, like, this style. It's like a gentleman's game of Ken.
It's more for fun.
Yeah, it's more fun, and, like... The best feeling in the world is whenever Jake does some stupid, random, left-hand bullcrap that I'm like, what the hell? And then I get it on the second try, and I'm just like, yeah!
in your face.
In your face. And I do have like one or two tricks that for some reason always confuse Jake, and I definitely pull those every time.
Absolutely. Man, playing Ken... Haley, I know you've been in the same situation, like where you've had games of Ken where you're playing someone and they're just like, all right, I'm going to play Haley Bishoff. And I'm going to wipe her off this planet. Oh, Haley can't do this one trick? I'm going to start every single trick with that trick. Because I have the same thing. And then you also have games of Ken where it's just like, you're trying to teach each other tricks. That's my favorite one. Haley, what's your favorite game of Ken to play?
In games of Ken, it definitely depends on who I'm playing. Like, if somebody has a similar style to me, I definitely try and do tricks that I can teach them, and hopefully they do the same. But if some kid is out there just doing a bunch of juggles and taps and you know, all the new age tricks, I'll just go and do super basic stuff, super traditional tricks, and just kick their ass.
Yes, that's the best feeling ever. You're like, oh, around the universe? Okay.
But yeah, Haley, do you actually have any family members that play kendama?
Me and my dad have a shave ice business. It's pretty much his, but I've done it for years. And all the time we just play kendama while we're waiting for customers or whatever. And actually Nic Stodd worked for us for a couple summers. And so we'd always have kendama breaks and stuff together. But no, my dad, I got him a kendama that was a Zebrano Ken with a Turner Thorn Tama. And he got kind of good. Like, he could do bird, he could do airplane jumping stick, he could get lighthouse to in, and like around the world. So he could do some, but no, my parents and my brother don't actively play.
But hey man, if you can do a bird, that means you've invested enough time to be certified kendama player.
Yeah, that's a lot of investment.
That's amazing. So question, was Nic Stodd fired from the shaved ice business for like sticking his finger in shaved ice or something funny like that?
Yeah, so Nic Stodd got fired from our company because he was eating all the shave ice and flirting with all the customers and just playing way too much kendama, and we were sick of it.
Love some Stodd. All right, so Haley, we're going to flip the tables here, and now Eric and I are going to ask you a few questions. I've been doing lots of Would You Rathers on Facebook Kendama community. So the first Would You rather show up to the World Cup finals stage, and all of a sudden your string is way too short and has a knot in it, or would you rather have a flat tip spike for 3 months straight, just completely flat?
Okay, so both of these would really suck, but I think I'd rather have the flat spike because, first of all, being on the Kendama World Cup stage would be crazy, and to mess that up by something stupid like a knot in your string, that would just be the most frustrating thing ever, because that's like maybe once in a lifetime chance. But I think with a flat spike, I would learn borders finally, and I wouldn't have an excuse, but I would be constantly pissed off, I think, because I always keep my spikes in the most pristine condition. Every single one, I just glue it, make sure it's perfect, and as soon as it starts to get dull, I will resharpen it and glue it again. So it would piss me off, but I think it would be a way for me to learn new tricks.
There you go, way to switch it into something positive. Speaking of kendama events and stages, We've got the Sakura Classic coming up. Actually, you know what? I don't want to tell people about this event. I want you to tell people about this event. Haley, what do you remember from the Sakura Classic?
All right, so the Sakura Classic, I actually don't think I've missed one yet. But it is a kendama event that's put on by you in San Francisco, and it's at the annual Cherry Blossom Festival in Japantown. And so pretty much we just have like a big booth where people come and sell kendamas, and there's a contest that goes down. There's the beginner, intermediate, and advanced bracket. And at the end of the weekend, there's the finals, which go on stage for the advanced players. And then we usually also do a demo and stuff for people to see kendama. And we've had a pretty good turnout on the stage and in the audience for the last couple of years. And last year, the winner actually won a trip to the Kendama World Cup, which was a huge prize. And so usually there's just something big for the advanced players who win. But yeah, it's a really fun event, and it's going to be April 8th and 9th in San Francisco, and you guys should come.
And we're done here. Thank you, Haley, for having us. I'm just kidding. Haley, that was great. But no, so like, how would you describe the vibe compared to other kendama contests? How would you describe the vibe of Sakura Classic compared to other kendama competitions?
Let's see. Let's compare it to like MKO or something, right? So MKO, not that your event is not organized, because it is. But MKO is a very like structured, scheduled thing, and Sakura Classic is a bunch of people, just a mob of kendama players in the middle of the street in San Francisco, in Japantown. And so it's just like kind of a big outdoor party almost, like, and we attract a huge crowd. Usually there's a lot of people stopping by, a lot of people learning kendama, a lot of people seeing it for the first time. And so it's a little bit more relaxed as far as kendama events go, but at the same time, I mean, there's still a schedule for the competitors and, you know, a time that we're all going to be there. But yeah, it's fun. It's actually one of my favorite events. And yeah, a lot of my good friends go, and the Grain Theory team is usually there. Players from Kendama USA, a lot of players from the Bay Area, and it's just a really good time.
This year's Sakura Classic is not going to fall short. We've got some amazing players coming out. We've got basically support from the entire KG Tuesday crew. KG Tuesday crew is a crew of kendama players that's met up every single Tuesday for the past 3 years in San Francisco. And the contest is basically put on by myself, the KG Tuesday crew, Kendama USA, and Grain Theory. And this year, I've been working closely with the crew, and everyone kind of has their own role. So, for instance, Alex DuPont is handling the kendama guide to San Francisco, everything from his favorite coffee shops to his favorite bars to his favorite places to film kendama to where we're going to be eating after the contest and the after parties and stuff like that. We've got the infamous and legendary Ben Harold, who is going to be putting together a lot of the trick list, because we all know that Ben has the funkiest, weirdest tricks. So the trick list, expect some funk. And we also have Kendama USA coming in with some prizes, as well as Grain Theory and some amazing players. This year, we're going to be doing the same thing, where we have an amateur-only contest. So everyone has a chance to actually win an amateur prize. And what this does is it actually brings a lot of the best unseen, unheard, unsponsored players to the forefront and gives them an absolute fantastic moment to shine. And after that, we have our pro contest, where it is actually closed to everyone unless you are sponsored, professional, or receiving free products from a company. So it gives a lot of the guys a good opportunity to actually watch their two favorite professional players go head-to-head up against each other. We're also going to have a 30 and up battle, which gives me a chance because I'm 33 years old and I can't hang with these young bucks. Or we're also going to have a 9 and under contest, which is going to be a lot of fun for the kids. And as always with the Sakura Classic, we're focusing on putting the best foot forward for kendama to the public. So we're going to be having lots of workshops and lessons and fun new mini games that we've been creating for the contest. Expect to be able to participate on any skill level. Also, if you've got parents coming, we're going to have some great games for your parents as well. So it's just, my goal with Sakura Classic is to create the vibe of that very first kendama battle that we held in my backyard garden in San Francisco. And the vibe of that was no worries, no stress. Come have a good time. Win or lose, you're guaranteed to walk away with amazing memories and some new friends, some new tricks, and a revitalized passion for kendama. And that's one of the things that I shoot for with Sakura Classic. And again, it wouldn't be possible without the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco. They've been so gracious to be able to actually give us their stage time on the main stage at the closing hour. So from 6 to 7 is whenever we're up on that main stage talking about kendama and really showing some of the best players in the United States. So without them, it wouldn't be possible, as well as Kendama USA, Grain Theory, and the KG Tuesday squad. So yeah, it's just a great, chill, fantastic event. And it's really an event unlike any other that I've actually been to. And I'm not sure if that's because it's less organized or because it's just in the middle of the street in a 50,000 person Japanese culture festival. So yeah, I highly encourage everybody, if you're in the Bay Area or not, around the USA, around the world, if you can make your way April 8th and 9th to San Francisco, California, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, to come to one of the most unique, fun kendama competitions and parties in the world. Come on down, have some good time. I want to say look out for some great kendama players from Jamaica, because every single person that we've handed a kendama to here has immediately just been amazing at kendama.
And I love how you just play kendama and dudes will be like these couple guys were walking with, like, they had work to do. They were like walking with a cart full of stuff, and they just stopped and they're like, "What is that?" Like immediately asked us, and then they're like, let me play. And it was just like really like refreshing just to like see people, because sometimes I'll play like on a lunch break or something, and like people walk by and they kind of look at it and they're like, "Oh, that's weird," or like, I don't know, like I get a different vibe. But like Jamaicans down here, man, they are just like, "What is that? I want to play it." And then they're really good at it. They get the knees. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a great vibe here in Jamaica.
5 minutes, the dude was doing like big cup, orbit, big cup.
Oh, so many no spin spikes too, just like dry spikes, no problem.
First try, yeah.
First tee. But yeah, so Jamaica's got a great vibe. That's where we're coming at you from right now. And yeah, I'm sure there's 1,000 other things I can talk about, because kendama is one of those things that you can talk about literally forever.
Yeah, me and Jake have to throttle it a little bit sometimes.
Absolutely.
Throttle back the kendama talk. It is just because it's like such a unique thing, like part of our lives. Like, I mean, I work as an engineer, and sometimes it's really boring. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, just being able to play kendama, and it's so unique, and then talk about it. And,
yeah.
And it's like the Wiens family is in such a huge part of it. Like it's not like we were fighting for the top. It's just like not that we're on top, but just like Jake, you, and then we make, like, I saw a post on Downspike the other day, and it was like, which kendama should I get, a craft or an RWB? And then the next post was like, which kendama should I get, like a craft or a chrome? It was like, next post was like, which kendama should I get, a GT or whatever? And I'm like, we make all these. Like,
so yeah, it's definitely something that I do a lot of events, from schools to shop visits to contests to just private birthday parties. And whenever I do these big events for schools, one of the things that I always try and leave these kids with, I'm talking elementary, middle school, is that being a professional kendama player is something that is real. It's something that is there, and it's not a made-up story. And it's something that I never planned on. It's something that I never really strived for. All I did was follow my passion. And you know what? My passion started off with rollerblading, but it led me to kendama. And one of the things that I try and leave these kids with is, and just everyone actually, like not just the kids here. I mean, I'll talk to a grown man about it too at a bar. That it's just like, if you're into something and you love it and you're passionate about it, follow it. Because that will show you something else that you're passionate and you'll love. And if you keep following that path, you will land at a place that you're extremely happy. And I feel really lucky, and I guess, I don't know if lucky is the term for it, but I just feel very fortunate that I was able to follow my passion from a young age, being 12 years old, rollerblading, throwing myself downstairs, having parents that oddly supported everything I did, from video to music to skating, and being able to follow your passion and have your passion open up new doors for you and eventually land you into a profession. So if for everyone out there that has something that they love to do, and if someone ever tries to tell you that you're wasting your time, keep going. Because you know what? That's going to lead you to something else. And it's going to keep leading you to something else. That's going to lead you to a profession and lead you to a prosperous, happy life. And that's one thing that, from skating, led me to video. Video led me to multiple forms of art. Multiple forms of art led me to San Francisco, California. I met Matt Rice through skating. We both ended up in film school together. He introduced me to kendama. We started doing contests together. Fast forward, here we are. I'm working with my family. I'm working with my best friends. And kendama is something that's completely changed our lives and something that I can do full time. So always follow what you're passionate about and follow what feels good, and it'll lead you somewhere good. Thank you for having me.
Do it NASCAR style.
I don't think. First of all, I want to take God. Second, I want to take that. Oh, that's way too country. That was like bass fishing pro championships. Anyways, no, huge thank you to Kendama USA. Thank you to Haley Bishoff and Molly Harney for having me on Click Clack Radio. Thank you to my parents for supporting me in everything I've been doing since skating to video to kendama. Thank you to my brother for being here, Eric Wiens. Big ups. Thank you to my whole team on Kendama USA. Thank you to Matt Rice for showing me a kendama. Thanks to my whole GT squad for keeping me inspired. Whole Kendama USA squad for keeping me inspired. And every single person that's ever picked up a kendama and caught it in a big cup. Big cup is the future. Shout out Jero. All right, guys, if any of you guys have any more questions for me, make sure to leave a comment below in the YouTube video, and I'll be checking these videos, and I'll be checking the comments, and I'll be able to answer any questions you guys have. So just make sure to leave a comment below, give Click Clack Radio a like, subscribe right here, and keep following up. They're going to have a lot more amazing people on the show. And yeah, keep listening, keep learning, keep playing. A click and a clack and a click and a clack and a click clack radio. Click Clack Radio is sponsored by NPR and Kendama USA.
Visit www.clickclackradio.com.
Hi, my name's Jake Wiens,
And I'm Eric.
and we're here to talk to you about
Kendama.
Let's go. All right, we got all your intros at the end.
We could sit here for another hour doing this, so we need to get out of here.
Okay, yeah, this is the Wiens energy we were talking about.